admire her, though.
Always felt
That's what she's.
looks like one.
Don't you think you...
What's this?
It looks like it might. You might know.
Well, it has a part there. It's round.
So which one?
What's that?
There are 2 towers, right?
Neither? You'd have... Ah, yes. Goodness knows.
Mind me asking.
Primrose? She was Flora's sister, a Remington by birth.
This is yours, Fitz?
Yeah,
Do you use...
I keep all my tools.
That wasn't what she asked. Fitz, one of these drawings is of you in the rooftop garden with Poppy.
Are we done?
There's something about the report of Fitz going up.
Let's ask him about it.
Oh, Fitz. I have a report that, holding.
That's
Fifi did see Fitz.
So, if it wasn't enough...
After a potted flower in Penny's room.
that flower.
Yes?
I've never seen it.
We need a clue to compare to that flower. Something that proves it's...
Let's take a closer look at the... And Penny's room matches the pot and soil found in Fitz's greenhouse. Let me guess. Penny's flower was originally a gift from you, Fitz. There's no way it's
no way.
a flower. It looks exactly like...
Go into her room every night. Water the flower. Change. Just try.
What do you think that
I
is?
don't know. It does look... But Flora wasn't holding...
What?
When we went into Flora's room,
Well, she probably...
she wasn't standing. She was kneeling on the floor. Angle, as far as I know.
So, Freya...
Let's call it an... Wait. Those are mine. They went missing about a week ago.
What do you need earmuffs?
I used them for gardening.
Why?
No.
This belongs to you, huh?
Correct.
And...
It's my handheld microscope.
What do you magnify with?
Trace particles.
have you used it yet?
I have.
What were you looking...
Poppy has she could...
There's something about Hawkshaw's handheld microscope. Something.
Let's ask her about it.
This little microscope thing? You said you used it to search the greenhouse.
And this would make... You're not as hopeless as you...
Thanks.
So, that's what you were looking for in the...
Surely even you... The greenhouse is home. The gardener could have easily kept the beetle.
Well, Fitz said you questioned him, but
He is not exactly the... He simply didn't know.
it's not a microscope at all.
All of a sudden, Detective Grim...
The handheld microscope, according to Fifi, uses a telescopic lens, so Hawkshaw lied about it. I'm inclined to believe Fifi.
Hawkshaw, why did you...
When you were a child,
Emperor of the Galaxy?
I wanted to be an astronomer.
Really?
It's yourself.
Things have become complicated. My lead suspect is your murder victim.
You get some weird... I've never seen...
I'm not sure anyone...
Freya. Where did you...
It was in the attic.
Oh, I forgot we even had it.
There's something about that diary. Something.
Let's ask her about it.
Fifi, we found it in your bedroom.
Of course it is mine.
Why is it locked up like that?
You seriously require... Very well. A fairly common concept. The so-called...
So, there... It's somebody else's...
How could you arrive at that conclusion? It is kept in my bed.
We need a clue. Let's take a closer look at this. Which proves it belonged to Freya.
You were hiding Freya's diary in your room.
Why would I do either?
Fifi didn't want anyone to see personal secrets within Freya's diary.
Is this true, Fifi?
I know Freya was your friend.
You did not know Freya, so this might be difficult to understand. She did her own thing. By concealing Freya's written accounts, it is simply my intention to...
Innocence?
Might be easier if you just let it...
Very well. However, as you... Freya was the most kind...
All right, Fifi.
Finally. What's in there?
Freya was... Maybe we should go back and check. And we could have... What is it?
It's a little wooden toy.
There's a note.
What does it say? Grimoire?
Yeah, it's...
Can you play the tune?
Sure. It's literally 8.
What's so special?
I got it from my teacher.
How long have you been playing?
Since the day I turned, I was really excited. When I arrived at my... He hadn't asked permission.
What's this all about?
I'm pretty sure the reason...
If it's made of gold? It's unlike her.
I think we'll give her a...
Ah, so wish.
There's something about Felix's something.
Let's ask him about it.
There's something about the image of Flora in the painting. Something.
Let's ask her about it.
So, this painting, specifically that knife.
Yeah, it's creepy. So, what's going on?
It's not a knife. We need a clue to compare with, something to explain. Let's take a closer look at this. The painted knife is actually just a feather from an ink-dip bird.
It's definitely the right but the book's not in color. The thing, Flora, is there anything to suggest that the ink-dip bird is... This little thing?
Flora's pet, so she kept a single feather to remember it by.
She kept the bird as a pet.
Maybe it flew away.
Flora spends all her time...
Either way, she kept the feather.
All right. So, she was holding the feather while... But where is it now? You'd think she'd keep it somewhere close by.
Yeah.
But we opened it. It's empty.
Mm-hmm. Completely. Flora? She's pointing at something.
It's just a pile of books. Wait. Mood.
So, about this paint we found in your...
Nothing suspicious. I used it. Totally normal.
We never said it was suspicious.
Come on, then.
It's not your paint box.
What on earth? Look, the lid matches the ones on all my...
That's not the end of the discussion.
Let's take a closer look. Freya's red paint pot was stolen and replaced with Felix's red paint pot, but the lids were swapped to hide it.
That red paint is from Freya Supplies. Not swapping the lids doesn't hide what...
Why are you bothering me about paint?
This red paint pot was somehow filled with blood before Freya used it to paint Flora.
Oh, that's definitely something. Right, fine. Here's the story. I was busy working on a project. There was a certain amount of time, just for a little while.
But she said no.
I tried. I seemed a bit...
Let's go over what we know about the crime scene. That's all the statements collected. Let's run through them all.
To see if anyone's been lying.
That too.
Fitz and I were up in the moonlight garden most of the afternoon. Then we heard this sound.
We thought it was coming from Flora's tower.
Her door was locked. So I made Fitz kick down the door.
Poppy and I went in. Freya.
I left my tower and headed down.
But in the hall, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down. I vacated the library, but before I could begin my...
I didn't know what to do. So I ran...
I heard someone heading down the stairs.
Someone began banging on the door.
Eventually, she let me in.
I spotted Detective Hawkshaw coming out of the library.
Emerged from the Pointer staircase. Crossed as I was passing through the front door. Penelope. I inquired about the professor, and she told...
I told her what had happened.
I thought she was playing a trick on me.
I recognized Fiona.
You left the room, and Poppy's father was...
I ran up the stairs, hoping to catch up with him, but Felix appeared and blocked my path.
Back in the hallway, she was heading up Tangle Tower.
Poppy left the room for a while.
Felix and Penny arrived shortly after we did.
A moment later, we were gazing down on the body of...
Then, I took a sample of
She took me down to the library. We were in there about 15.
I quickly decided that I took Penelope with me.
I wanted to go back to my room, but I realized...
Unremarkable hour passed before the guard...
I think she was annoyed about it when I told her about Freya.
That's disappointing.
What is?
All the statements line up with each
They
other.
don't just line up. Some of them even seem to specifically... We know a little more about the crime scene. So, what was Freya stabbed by her own paint?
Blood from the paint pot was used to paint the red tip of the painted ink-dip feather to resemble a bloody knife.
I think you're right. Can't decide if I'm disappointed.
I have a question. Why?
Either it's a very strange coincidence.
Somebody deliberately put blood in the paint pot. Why? To distract her.
Possibly.
Well, it worked.
Possibly.
Flora's the only person who could have hidden the feather.
Well, let's go over what we do. The door was locked the whole time. It stayed locked until normally it can only be opened from the inside. Pointer said he couldn't see Freya from his telescope, but he did see Flora lying by the window.
So whatever got Freya got Flora too?
Except Flora survived. She didn't get a stab wound like Freya.
Hold on. If there was no knife...
It could be anything. It might...
How is it not important?
Right now, I'm less interested in the what.
The angle of Freya's wound suggests she was stabbed at a perfect right angle. That is, from directly in front of her. But she was standing right up by the canvas.
Somehow, Freya ended up lying on her back, still perfectly in line with the painting.
Maybe something went through it.
Through the painting? Wouldn't that leave a hole?
Okay, well, how about this? How do we know Freya was stabbed before she fell over? Maybe her being stabbed and her falling over are completely unrelated.
someone humming a tune. That's all formality.
So, what?
Should we go back to the gardens again?
Let's try this again.
You know, I think we might be able to... That's gotta be...
Nothing. Maybe it's broken.
Wait, do you hear that? Where do you think it get?
Down. Forensic and...
That's an incredible...
What a mess.
Any idea what this is all about?
They're all comic symbols, mostly based on...
Huh. Reminds me of...
It's a hatch.
But we're all ready.
Depends on your perspective.
Let's not... We still...
Is it locked?
Seems likely to... Weird-looking
I'm
thing.
pretty sure the latches can slide into them.
That's the one.
Hey, not bad. Anything inside?
Ah, more research. What's it? 9.
Poor little guys.
There's a bunch of notes. It's mostly numbers. It's a little...
Whose research is this? This is some seriously in-depth research.
It's impressive, but it's...
So, this is point...
Definitely seems like he's...
I guess not a lot of people know.
Right. But if... Why would he need to lock his research?
He's just paranoid.
What do you think he's trying to do?
Pointer has been trying to breed the golden beetle in the underground laboratory.
Why? Because it's rare?
Because it's gold?
Is that it?
I think so. I don't think he cares. He just wants to get one over. If he can breed his own gold, suddenly pop...
Infinite. Might explain why he was so worried. Maybe somebody did...
Might have been Freya after all. We know she was trying to get through the secret...
She might not have known what was down. Maybe she was just curious.
Curious? Sure. I reckon she knew what was going on.
I think we're... There's no way that... We're done.
Ready to go down? Again?
It's an old coat rack.
Too close. Let me guess. The Grand Hall.
What's that?
I think it's that big...
Study. Wait.
I know what you're thinking. And no, we never...
How did we miss it?
This photograph.
Why?
Not sure. Some kind of metal stabbing thingy. So what's the photo? Do you know who it is? This man in the photo, he reminds me of something.
Felix made a little model of him?
Yeah, makes sense when you know who he is. Lord Remington.
Remington. Meaning the girl in the...
Yeah, it's her. See the bird, too.
I never would have guessed. Times sure do change.
I don't know. I don't... This is creepy.
Why?
I think it's a children's book.
Basements don't...
We're at the bottom of the lake. We must be.
Right. But if that's the lake bed...
Like what?
White, no plants. That's not what a lake looks like.
Where are we?
Did you notice how much light
It's all coming through the window.
I'm pretty sure a lake
Why is there a room down here? And why is it so much older than the...
in that last. This must be it. This thing.
How are we supposed to...
Hang on, but I think there's a switch.
Want to go up?
Centipede? How many?
Too many.
Is that a...
It's gotta...
Also... Perfect.
Mind.
Was someone trying to hide?
I don't know. What do you make of it?
Not sure.
You don't think the crossbow...
An incinerator built still...
Is there anything left?
It's mostly ash. Yeah, there's something.
An axe and some kind of hunting...
Honestly, doesn't...
I'm more worried about the
The third one?
The one that isn't there.
Coffee table, half... I'm good.
Someone complacent enough to leave their notebook lying around.
Stool. It's a wooden pin hung up on one...
Looks like there's a couple of things missing from it.
Someone's been using this. I don't get it. This room is in the... Nowadays, it's some big...
It's not a secret to at least one other person's...
The way the notebook was left out in the... Makes me think it's someone...
Whoever it was, they left... There's a whole design project on this. Feels like someone put quite a bit of effort...
It's a shame there are things missing. I'm betting it'd make more sense.
That might not be...
Painting from Freya's... Did Freya design Detective Hawkshaw's clothes?
I don't think that's why Freya made that painting. But it may have been why somebody took a photo of it. As for those sketches of Hawkshaw, I don't think Freya actually drew them. It was somebody else. Someone with less of a talent.
Doesn't exactly narrow it. Should we go out?
I'm not sure.
Who are all the people?
Not sure, but it looks like our eyes have all been crossed out. That photo is important.
Another photograph.
Their faces are all crossed out.
That's weird.
Oh, you think so?
No, I mean, Sally, did we meet any of these people?
Well, the woman on the left looks a little like Poppy, but her style is weird. And at first I thought the guy on the top right was Felix, but now that I look at it, I don't think it is him.
Time to solve this. They called this room...
What would you call it?
The... of Doom.
All right. Time to put it all...
Let's start with this. It's an arrow for the crossbow. It's the murder weapon.
Despite the fact it doesn't have any blood on
it. It was clean. I don't think anybody expected us to get down to that room.
Okay, so Freya was shot by a crossbow. Where was it fired from?
It was fired from above.
Above, huh?
Yeah, let's add in the rest of the crime scene.
The attic.
Perfect hiding place. The reel was used to pull the arrow back.
Explains why we never found a weapon at the crime scene, I guess.
The murderer must have dropped the reel in the attic.
Wait. The arrow was...
Yeah, it's directly above where Freya was.
Nope. Doesn't add... Would have missed her if she was still...
Right.
Unless... Freya was already lying on her back before the...
I think so too. fallen unconscious.
Something in the room caused Freya to fall unconscious.
The gramophone.
Right.
But the gramophone by itself can't do that.
There was something in the
Something's... Pointer's research says it can emit, and in Poppy and Fitz both said that neither of them had any idea.
This seems a little far-fetched.
No, I don't. But don't forget, it was being amplified. I don't think we're purely talking about volume either.
This is getting kinda Since when do you know anything?
I don't. But do you remember that statue we found? The hornets playing. It's a pretty similar shape to that broken glass isn't there on accident. This is someone's...
Thinking about it, Pointer said he saw Flora was knocked out too. I guess they were both in range of the noise, although...
Personally, I think he was telling the truth. It's pretty clear a powerful frequency did cause quite a bit of damage too. Those cracks didn't appear out of nowhere. Freya's paints, the pink cassette tape, and the gramophone itself, they all sustained similar damage while they were...
That's some seriously enough to crack metal. Enough to knock someone out.
Yeah, that's the one. If the frequency was so powerful, wouldn't they have been in range too? Think about it. They can't have been much further away from the gramophone than Flora.
They protected themselves.
How?
These are some pretty heavy. I think they'd be enough to block out the sound.
Right. 1. Freya is painting Flora's portrait. They're listening to music on the gramophone.
2. The murderer is hiding in the attic, wearing earmuffs.
3. The golden beetle starts to emit its hissing noise.
Hold on. How did it know?
The beetle?
Yeah. What triggered it at that particular moment? Pointer's research said it makes the noise when it feels threatened.
I'm not sure. Maybe something in the music?
Maybe.
4. Freya and Flora are both knocked unconscious by the vibrations. Freya lands on her back. She drops the brush and palette by her side.
5. The murderer fires the crossbow directly downwards.
6. The arrow is pulled back up on the reel.
7. The murderer leaves the attic, presumably.
8. The door is kicked down. Fitz and Poppy enter the room.
That's it. There's something...
What?
I just want... Let's go back to the crime scene.
The answer is in the painting. I'm sure of it.
The plant. It's in the book.
What?
Look. Freya, did you leave us a clue?
So what's bothering you?
Something that's not here. We know she was holding it during the painting.
Flora's ink dip.
It was here. In this room. Where'd it go?
We found it somewhere else. We were a little too late.
So it was stolen from... and ended up in the...
Someone wanted to destroy it.
But how? How was it...
Presumably, Flora dropped it when she fell.
Yeah, and then what? The murderer couldn't have stolen it if they were up in the attic.
So the question is, how could they steal... The final clue. Freya left it for us right here. It's in the It's not quite a photo, but still. It's an image of the crime. If only she'd finished it. And then I could be totally sure.
It's true she never finished it, but she did intend to finish it.
Meaning?
We know more about the painting than what Freya actually got down on the Freya prepared all the colors she was going to need before The yellow paint was going to be used to paint the sketch of something sitting in the window.
Something in the... Oh.
There she is, our little thief.
How long has it been? Did it hear?
She did. But she's a very good listener. Well now, I think this has quite served its purpose.
Penny, why did you...
It's Penelope, if you don't mind. But before we begin, isn't there a certain formality? Lovely. What was it that drove you this far? I'm ever so curious.
Justice for Freya.
Is that right?
Why did you do it, Penny? What did...
Absolutely not.
So, what? You...
Freya fellow was... She was possessed of the volition to create, the willpower to walk. She was everything I couldn't.
You know what? I just realized I actually have...
Weird, isn't it? Considering we've met her...
Exactly. How do we...
You think you've already hollowed us? Only a few short hours at unearthed every single one of our... Go on, indulge me. What does it say in your notes about Penelope Pointer?
Penny, we only know what you choose to tell us.
Very well. Penelope Pointer. She pales in comparison to those living at Tangle Tower. It is very difficult.
You sure this is a Tangle?
Perhaps you didn't notice.
So why stay?
I thought she did leave. Penny, you said you...
I did. Many times I've walked away. You saw the family tree hanging.
Yeah, it lists a bunch of people.
A bunch of people who... My mother, for one. The other two Remingtons, Poppy's...
And Fitz's father.
That's 5. 5 people that might have lived here.
And that...
You wanted to know where...
More than that. I wanted to know if I have no place here. Not a... But I felt there must be a reason why everyone else left. Perhaps it could be...
So?
Nothing I could do. The more questions I asked, then I found it.
Found what?
The study. It's right next to
I'd hear voices, and the strangest thing, the wall behind my paint would peep. I thought I was cursed. Eventually, I couldn't. I found my way in the same way you...
So, you got into that. Must have been a relief.
It was... Then. Let's see how thorough you... Tell me, do you know...
Misted?
Mistids? Sure, yeah.
Sorry.
It's a collective term. From before my time. Birds, insects. The mutation can take several generations.
Wait, misted.
A little egregious. The main difference being mistids are... Or at least, that was...
How do you know all this?
When I entered the study at 19. Something which answered my questions while it... The 5 missing family members, standing, calling themselves the
So, the house was renamed.
And rightly so. The age... When I looked inside, I found nothing but ash. The after study. The room at the bottom of it. Felt my only hope lay with the ambassadors. If I could... Maybe they'd share the family history that Flora...
How did you...
It was tough. They books, maps, but I got lucky. I got a lead. I found one.
And? Why'd you paint out all their faces?
They didn't help you either, did they?
19-year-old me had imagined they'd all left with them. They hadn't. They were, in fact... Most of them had left tracking escape. Some claimed to be researchers, others, all 5.
Even your own parents?
Eventually, I returned to Tangle Tower, but instead, there was only one person at Tangle. My dear Uncle Pointer had suddenly made a fairly superficial charade, I don't think, but I knew it wasn't just a false. Pointer had found something from...
So where did he get the beetle?
I cannot be sure.
In the post?
Who can say? Someone outside. But the thought that he would decided to...
So you stole it.
Stealing the beetle turned out... Upon realizing it was gone, Pointer made little effort to discuss. I asked what was bothering him. He foresaw no risk in sharing. He told me he'd lost a rare treasure. I suggested, innocently, that he was very ready to believe he'd been... And I offered to call in a private detective. She arrived the next day. Hawkshaw prides herself on her punctuality.
Why, though? Why go through?
It's somewhat sad to admit, but I had little use. Hawkshaw afforded me new advantages.
But Didn't you have to pretend to be working for
Well, that was when Pointer was in such a desperate state. He was from the second day. Hawkshaw explained Pointer gave in and gave me the code for the harp statue.
So,
I would have done if I'd. He had made remarkably barely scratching the surface.
Which is?
It carries an exoskeleton approximate, but it's not the 90. Did you ever question what... Before Misted Mansion was built, Lord Remington and his wife built a small... Fast forward 2 or 3 generations.
The ambassadors took everything.
And everything they didn't take was... However, possessing it... It's not much.
So, why isn't this... Why did you stay?
Simply put, it's my fault. I pushed her over the edge. What are you talking? Did you know I based the design for Hawkshaw on something? That's right. I'd assumed it was purely abstract. I later discovered it was a fit all her vitality. I think she was desperate to leave Tangle Tower. For quite some time, she'd been trying to break into Freya and her friends were halfway through deciphering those symbols on the harp statue. Why did she care about getting... That's exactly right. At first, I thought perhaps she has a fondness for them. A point in fact. I think she wanted the real that she could not get Fiona to agree. But now firmly in the realm, so I think Freya felt that exposing not just to the rest of the family would compromise all, and perhaps, somehow, free Fiona. There was a plan anyway, before Freya could find her way into Point. She found her way into your study. Found your notes. Found one to bet she put it all together quicker than... So she worked out what had happened to the 5 ambassadors, specifically what you'd done to them when they refused to help you. Freya had made a promise to paint the floor. She'd been in a locked room, several hours away. But why hide in the attic? The beetle in the gramophone wasn't. She didn't deserve to be involved. She suffered enough. I couldn't get Flora out of her room. But if she could be, she wouldn't have to witness it. Why the knife? The illusion of the painted knife with the blood act. It's where Fiona gave them something to focus. You mean it distracted them? It helped them cope. The very idea. I believe it made things marginally less worked on you, too. So why are you still here? Well, I'd really rather... Wait. Just go inside the crib. Let's go. You two. My head hurts. You were both unconscious. Really? You're both fine. Was it the beetle? I heard it through the ceiling. The exact same sound. I guess it must have. So how did we get down here? What happened to Pet that saved both of you? When I reached Flora's tower, you were both unconscious. She had her crossbow on her. But who knows? She may have... Did you know that she... Poppy and Fifi suspected her. Apparently, they were pretty close to solving it themselves. Fitz did not want to believe us, because you liked Penny a lot. But what happened? Fitz, what did she do when she saw you? She jumped out the window. Did she? She did. I heard something land in the garden, but by the time I got out there... Hang on. Poppy, why do you have to left him behind? I found him sitting on the floor, and the poor little thing. The mean... I apologize. Poppy seems to be under the... So, I'm afraid she did. We had suspected she might try to escape. I proved to be in effect. Did she take the beetle with her? No. How do you know? Because it's right here. It was still in the gramophone. I guess I scared... Poppy, what? Are you going to give it back to you? No, I'm not. It doesn't belong to Ezo. I'm going to put... I think that's what she would have wanted.